everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins, and this is my good buddy Brandon. I'm about messed it up again. And this is our weekly WWE Recap show here on the channel. If you're finding this for the very first time, please click that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. Just a little bit of house cleaning, though, before we get too far into these shows here. We're probably going to only be doing our wrestling reviews once a week after this week, so just to let you guys know that moving forward. We'll probably continue to do our WWE and AEW pay-per-view recaps on Monday mornings, so that'll probably still be a thing after the pay-per-views air on the weekends. But when it comes to our weekly shows going over Raw, NXT, Smackdown, Dynamite, and Rampage, we're probably going to be releasing those shows once a week on Thursday morning, which is when those shows will air here where we review them. So just so you guys know that, we'll kind of just go over everything in one shot and kind of cut out a lot of the extra work that we're having to do here on the channel. So that'll be something we do going forward. But to replace it, I think we're going to, me and Brandon are going to kind of team up and do like a movie news show that'll be dropping on Wednesday mornings instead of the normal WWE recap. So we'll still be giving out content every day for the most part on the channel, but it'll just be a little bit of a different setup. And I'll update the schedule at the top of the YouTube channel itself, so you guys will know that as well. All right, so let's get into these shows, I suppose, here. We got a few shows to go over here, starting with last Friday night. It was August 13th, Friday the 13th, for this was a scary show, I'm sure. So let's get into it. This is definitely the show where we, question everything about our lives and what we're doing with it. And we're going to get into all that. So this is, the show starts out with John Cena and Roman Reigns. They're face-to-face in the ring. I like this promo segment between these two guys here for sure. I still don't understand for the life of me why John Cena is challenging for the Universal title, but at this point, we might as well just move on from it. Cena came out to start SmackDown to a massive pop. They recapped Roman Reigns and John Cena's feud, which isn't much, really. Cena pointed out that school's back and decided to give Reigns his report card. He first gave Reigns a D, and he called him a disappointment. Of course, the inference here was he called him a D, as in a... Yeah, without actually saying
he did.
So, yeah, disappointment is what he's trying to say. Cena then promised to give Reigns an F at SummerSlam. So, Cena also decided to give the fans a pop quiz. The fans broke into a loud Cena chant. Why, I don't know. He asked the fans if they think Reigns will beat the hell out of him at SummerSlam. The crowd booed. Cena admitted Reigns would beat the hell out of him, but he will win the title at SummerSlam. Universal Champion Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman then made their way to the ring. Cena welcomed Reigns. Reigns doesn't want to waste his time and told Cena to get to it. Very nonchalantly here, Reigns just really, didn't care what Cena had to say. Cena isn't going to wrestle or waste his time, he said, but promised to beat Reigns in 1 week. He added that Roman Reigns thinks the company belongs to him, but it really belongs to the fans. He said that line, and I'm just like... Bro, do you watch any of this? He said that Roman Reigns had failed over and over again, but management protects him. There was a faint Roman sucks chant here. Management protects him. Kind of like what they did to Cena all them years. That's kind of my first thought. Anyhow, John Cena noted it's either going to be Team Reigns or Team Cena at SummerSlam. The fans booed. Reigns and broke into a loud "Let's go Cena" chant. Reigns was not impressed. Reigns was doing a great job of selling this here. Basically, just go ahead, Cena, get it all out of your system. Say what you want, it ain't going to matter. I did like that, for sure. Cena admitted that Reigns would beat the hell out of him. He mocked Reigns for using the Superman punch and insulted Heyman. Cena knows that Reigns will beat the hell out of him. He said this multiple times. It's like he had nothing else to go on. But all he has to do is survive and pin Reigns 1, 2, 3. The fans chanted 1, 2, 3 with Cena each time he counted. Cena pointed out that if he wins the title, that'll make him a 17-time champion. Cena claimed he's back to help Reigns. Reigns talked about Cena's accomplishments and his movie career. He praised Cena and said he's on the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Reigns then added that Cena is even good enough to win the WWE Championship, but he's not good enough to win the Universal Championship. Way to bury Bobby Lashley, by the way.
Look, Reigns don't give a fuck.
No, Reigns, and I get it. It's Reigns' character to think he's the best. So I get that part of it, but it was like, wow, man. Reigns then said the missionary position might be good for Cena, which is crazy.
Or rather,
Reigns mentioned Cena. It's like doing missionary over and over again for 20 years. He said it 1 week, and ever since then, every week they initially edited it out of their YouTube clip because they thought it was too much, and now all they do is bring it back up over and over. And one line worked, and they're running it into the ground as they normally do. But it was not good enough for Nikki Bella, is what Roman Reigns said. So that got a ooh from the crowd, Pretty good.
That sounded real.
Yeah, not a bad lie. I ain't gonna lie. The crowd then popped for that, obviously. Reigns noted that this might be the last time fans see Cena and promised to send Cena back to Hollywood. Cena then shot back at Reigns that he ruined Seth Rollins and ran Dean Ambrose out of WWE. So this is the first segment on this show where WWE flat out referenced somebody at AEW. Everybody likes to get on AEW's case when they put WWE in their mouths, and they think they're doing it all the time. And here WWE is, John Cena is calling out the now Jon Moxley over at AEW. He called Reigns a failure and claimed he's protected. Cena made fun of Reigns' teeth, I don't know, and noted that he doesn't give up. Cena's promised to win the title 1, 2, 3. He promised to leave Allegiant Stadium with the title, and he might even blow Reigns a kiss goodbye, which is a second reference to CM Punk. As CM Punk did the infamous blow your kiss to Vince McMahon when he won the title at SummerSlam against Cena, and he left the company. So, twice in one promo, we get a couple AEW references here. So again, if people want to get mad at AEW for talking about WWE, fine. But you got to get mad at WWE for doing the same about AEW. It's not a one-sided thing. WWE kind of started it calling AEW a pissant t-shirt company. So you can blame Triple H for that, kind of. But if you want to say neither one of them should do it, great. But just be fair about it, that's for sure. First match of the night, we had King Nakamura. He defeated Apollo Crews to win the Intercontinental Championship in 10 minutes. Might as well at this point. Apollo Crews has not won a singles match since he won the title back at WrestleMania. So, sure, why not? I mean, at this point, you can't hurt the title anymore than you already have. So, I mean, Rick Boogs tried to get involved. Referee ended up throwing him out, and they threw Aziz out as well. He ejected him from ringside. Nakamura did end up hitting the Kinshasa for the win, and that is when Pat McAfee and Rick Boogs ran back out, and they celebrated like crazy. Pat McAfee lost his mind. I don't know if he ever
Pat
had
loves Rick Boogs, man.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, Rick Boogs can play a hell of a guitar, but I just can't get into Rick Boogs. Part of me is like, okay, put him in the ring,
brother.
Maybe I'll get into it.
You got to get on the Rick Boogs train.
The Boogs train, the Boogs bandwagon. But
you got to hop on that Boogs bandwagon.
The Boogs. I mean, again, maybe he's very good at the guitar, but for whatever reason, this thing is just it's out there for me. But Nakamura, I love Nakamura, but I don't know. King Nakamura, though, your new Intercontinental Champion, so. Please do something with this guy. Please don't bury the title anymore. That's all I'm asking. When you got an Intercontinental Champion who gets beat all the time, I really fear for Nakamura right now. Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to be a good thing or not, but we'll have to wait and see. They recapped the Street Profits and Alpha Academy feud. In the back, Caleb Braxton did interviewed the Street Profits. Montez Ford talked about Otis injury weeks ago. Ford admitted he was in so much pain that he couldn't even laugh. Angelo Dawkins added that Ford is like family to him. They promised to get revenge against Chad Gable and Otis next week. Or next. I'm sorry, not next week. This next match. So in a match that lasted 1 minute and 50 seconds, the Street Profits defeated Alpha Academy. They had a good match while it lasted. They didn't get a lot of time, but did work hard. Ford hit a huge dive over the top rope onto Otis. Dawkins then hit the pop-up neck breaker for the win. So... okay, it's really hard for me as a wrestling fan to get invested in a wrestling match when it lasts less than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like okay, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
but then we just move on to something pointless, and it's like, I could have done with a couple more minutes of that match, but all right.
Yeah. And that's why I personally prefer WWE pay-per-views, because a lot of times their storytelling is done, and they actually put effort into those matches normally.
Yep.
And time.
More bang for your buck.
Yeah, but this is one of the reasons we're going to be moving all the shows into one night, because it's just like there's some of this that's not really worth mentioning here. In the back, Seth Rollins was in the production truck yelling at everybody, which is where we saw a nice shot of Kevin Dunn back there. So that was interesting. Rollins then came to the ring and noted that Edge isn't at the arena tonight. The fans broke into loud boos because obviously they want to see Edge. Even though that's okay. To me, I prefer not seeing the guys each and every week. It's fine to have a break here and there. Seth Rollins claimed he's disappointed too. The fans broke into a loud "We want Edge" chant. Understandable, I get it, but you gotta understand as a fan that they're not always going to be there. Seth Rollins pointed out that Edge called him Edge Light last week. Rollins admitted that it might be true, but he's better than Edge. Rollins then showed a video package highlighting his career and buried Edge. It compared Edge starting his career with a mediocre group like the Brood, but Rollins made an impact debuting with the Shield. It also compared the first time they cashed in their Money in the Bank briefcase and winning the Royal Rumble. The fans broke into another loud "We want Edge" chant. Rollins feels that Edge and the fans should be thanking him because he didn't permanently injure Edge in 2014. Rollins noted it's not 2014 and he's a changed man. This time he won't hesitate to end Edge's career at SummerSlam. So good, sounds like a good promo, but it's just like, the feud's not really based on a whole lot. But to be honest, this is probably the best feud on SummerSlam's card, in my opinion. At least it's got some background to it, like where Rollins referenced 2014, where he tried to, break Edge's neck after his neck surgery stuff on the show, which I haven't really caught whether or not they've been showing a lot of footage of that segment, but if they haven't, they need to be pushing it, like I said. So I mean, at least this will probably be one of the best matches of the show. It may be a show stealer for sure, so we'll see what they do. In the back, Ray and Dominic discussed their upcoming match. Dominic was confident that they're going to win the titles. Ray told him not to think that way and stay focused. To me, I don't understand why WWE put the titles on the Usos if they were just going to have the Usos face Ray and Dominic anyway.
Yeah.
What, you couldn't have maybe waited until SummerSlam for the Usos to win? I don't know. Ray and Dominic Mysterio then defeated Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode in 3 minutes and 25 seconds. Another very, very short match. The less said about this, the better, really. There's not much to really talk about. I guess the Usos did appear on the screen and distracted Dominic, though, so here's distraction finish. Roode tagged himself in and tried to dump Dominic, but Ray pushed him out of the way. Dominic then rolled up Roode for the win. So another roll-up, distraction roll-up. Typical WWE stuff. Furthering that, and I guess we'll get that match. I'm guessing it's SummerSlam. I'm pretty sure it's on the card. Baron Corbin made his way to the ring. Michael Cole noted that this is the last time Corbin can beg the fans for money. Why is that? But anyway, nobody's paid him.
Needy, bruh.
Yeah. Baron Corbin talked about his recent problems, and the fans cheered because why should we care about Baron Corbin's problems? He's a jerk. He claimed that this is the last time he's going to ask for money publicly. Okay, that's fine to not ask for it anymore, but Cole noted that it's the last time he could beg for money. That doesn't make no sense. Corbin added that he just needs $1,000 from each fan tonight. Well, not asking much, are you, bruh? He even has a credit card scanner with him that plugs into the bottom of your phone so you can scan your card in it. Pat McAfee asked, how does a homeless guy get a credit card scanner? Good point. And again, we mentioned last week, why does Baron Corbin have to ask for money anyway? Doesn't he still get a check from WWE? He is an employee.
Man.
So I guess not. Nope.
He got kids, man.
Yeah, he got kids. Kevin Owens interrupted and made his way to the ring. Corbin said he knows why Owens is out here, but he doesn't know if the scanner accepts Canadian credit cards. That's a funny line. I ain't gonna lie about that. Owens noted that Corbin shouldn't be asking the fans for money. He pointed out that Corbin ruined Finn Balor's SummerSlam title shot. That's the first mention of Balor tonight, so okay. Owens mentioned that Corbin went to Raw and even begged Drew McIntyre for money. Owens agreed to give Corbin the money he needs if he could beat him tonight. Owens added, if he wins, Corbin has to stop begging the fans for money. So Corbin agreed, but got in Owens' face and poked him in the chest. Owens heard enough and gave Corbin a stunner. Did they jump to the back as they showed Sasha Banks preparing for a contract signing, which led to the Kevin Owens Baron Corbin match. Why they kind of broke that up with the backstage thing with Sasha, I don't know. Maybe they went to break, is what I'm guessing. Kevin Owens then defeated Baron Corbin, and at least it was a longer match, 9 minutes or so. They had a fine match, but Corbin can no longer beg the fans for money after this stipulation. So, okay, I mean, I don't know why it really matters. Corbin rolled up Owens with his feet on the ropes, but only got a 2 count. Corbin avoided the stunner, but Owens fought back and used a sunset flip for the win. After the match, Owens gave Corbin a stunner. So this is just another embarrassing Baron Corbin segment to kind of show that he's on hard times, as the big boss man once said. So yeah, I mean, this Corbin thing. Obviously, eventually he's going to, get some good fortune, I would assume, at some point. Which maybe by the end of this show, we'll talk about here in just a second. That's what you call a setup. But brother. In the back, Bianca Belair was playing a game with Big E. Michael Cole noted that Big E could cash in on any champion except for Belair. I mean, do you honestly expect us to think
I thought that was unspoken.
Yeah, it's kind of a unwritten rule. I think that he can't cash in on the women's champions. But sure, we'll go with it.
It'd be funny as hell if he did.
Yeah, back from the break, Kayla Braxton interviewed Baron Corbin. She asked him what's next after losing to Owens. Corbin was distraught, but noticed Big E. He ran over and stole the Money in the Bank briefcase and ran away. Now, according to the reports I've been reading, apparently Corbin is now the Money in the Bank holder, and he can cash in anytime he wants. So, did they just kill the stipulation for the Money in the Bank match? So what's the point of having the Money in the Bank ladder match if anybody could win and anybody could just walk up, take it, and cash it in? Last year, they gave the briefcase to The Miz, but The Miz did beat Otis for it in a match. But this year, Baron Corbin just walks up, takes it, and I guess he has the ability to cash in on any champion of his choosing. If that's the case, screw this company. The Money in the Bank was one of the few stips you had that was actually still worth something. So if Corbin cashes this in and Big E doesn't get this back, this is terrible if that's the case. So we'll see what they do. Maybe Big E gets it back and it's not a big deal, but it's just something to kind of kill time. But yeah, that's terrible if that's actually where they're going to go with this. We'll see what happens though. Smackdown champion Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks had their contract signing in the main event of this show. This was a typical WWE contract signing. Belair and Banks were good in their roles. Sonya Deville hosted the contract signing. She wasted no time and introduced Banks. The fans gave Banks a big reaction. Belair came out next to a big pop as well. Belair noted that Banks could have just asked for a title shot instead of backstabbing her. Banks pointed out that Belair used her ponytail and gave her a scar at WrestleMania. Was that the reason why you were gone for months? Because you got a little bit of a whip from that ponytail? Is that the whole reason?
I wouldn't call it a little bit.
Well, no, but it's not something that's going to keep a superstar out for, 5 months? Something to that effect.
But to reflect, man.
I guess so. It takes a toll on you mentally when you get beat
personal
by
reflection.
Yeah, I mean,
like, yo, what did I do wrong?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
They started arguing until Deville stopped them. She noted the contract signings have been getting out of control lately. You don't say, Sonya. Have you watched any of these shows? But this is the same.
Yeah, at this point, it's like, are you familiar with wrestling?
At all, well, especially in this company. Deville demanded that they both sign the contract. Banks, now make sure that they both actually had their names on it, and it's the exact same signature as well, because apparently anybody can sign signatures too, by the way. Banks teased signing, but felt she needs some witnesses, so Carmella and Zelina Vega then made their way to the ring. So we're getting a little convoluted already. Banks called Belair a rookie and said she's always 2 steps ahead. Banks signed the contract. Belair then signed and threw the contract in Banks' face. Belair then brawled with the 3 heels. She flipped over the table and landed on Banks, which is kind of botchy. Banks ended up falling into the chair, which kind of knocked her head onto that, so I looked like it might have hurt for sure. Belair beat down Banks and threw Carmella and Vega out of the ring. So Belair just 1-on-3, babyface destroying the heels. Banks recovered and hit a backstabber on Bianca Belair. She then threw Belair over the table. Banks pulled Belair by the ponytail and caught her with the knee. Banks then posed with the title and locked on the Banks statement, using Belair's ponytail to end SmackDown. So, okay, I mean, it sounds like at least it was setting up the match. But again, it's typical WWE contract signing. Now, personally, I just don't care much for contract signings to begin with.
No.
It's not maybe so much the concept. It's the fact that we've seen these all go the same way. 2 people get in the ring. It breaks down into a brawl. It always is, one of them looking stronger than the other. Okay, whoop-de-doo. We've seen it a million times. Maybe that's not so much anything wrong with the contract signing itself, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't work for me.
Contract signings are boring.
Yeah, they can be. I mean, there are times that it can be done better, but a lot of times they're bored no matter what you do, unfortunately. So, and it's really not necessarily necessary. Just say whoever the authority figure in the back has made the match and just be done with it. But we got time to fill, so I guess that's something there we got to do.
I mean, look, contract signings are boring no matter the company. Let's just get it over. Contract signings have been boring. Maybe the first one ever was entertaining because it's something new, different. Nowadays, they all follow the same fucking formula. You're going to get out there. You're going to have this little tiff. A table's going to be flipped. Mm-hmm. I will say in Drew McIntyre's case, that one time they did cut the table in half.
With the sword.
That was pretty dope.
It's interesting. Yeah.
But They're kind of the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really changes. It's always the same formula. Your heels, your face. Somebody says something, it's more or less the heel that antagonizes the face, and either one or two options are going to come out. Either your face is going to stand tall at the end of it, or your heel is going to stand tall.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to get a little bit more of this on Monday, but it's not so much the fact that I find WWE too formulaic, or formulaic being a bad thing. Sometimes if you execute the formula the proper way, it can get all the talent over and further fuse and things like that. But WWE, their formula lately is repeat the same thing. And even then, the formula is not necessarily booked the proper way, or they'll repeat the formula so many times. It's like, okay, like this week on Raw, we're going to get into it in a second, where Jeff Hardy faced Karrion Kross for the third week in a row, or all the tag team feuds now, the way they set up the tag team feud, like to lead to the pay-per-view, is you take the four participants, split them up into singles matches, kind of bait and switch each one, and then you do that over 4 weeks, and then you get the tag match. So by then, though, we've already seen them wrestle each other, maybe not in a tag, but it's like, okay, we've seen this over and over. There's just certain things that they do. It's just like, I don't know, and I don't want to hate this company. I love this company. I've been watching them for 30+ years. It's just that when they do stuff over and over again with the Costa rematches, which we're going to get into some here in just a second, it's just like, come on, anything, just come up with something creatively different. That's all we're asking. Monday Night Raw from August 16th, 2021, from San Antonio, Texas. The show opened up with a recap of last week's events involving Randy Orton, RKO, and Riddle. So let's set the stage there. Randy Orton then entered. He was mostly cheered. He said people have been asking him all week why he gave Riddle an RKO. Because he's Randy Orton. And
don't ask me no questions like that.
I mean, the fact that, to me, the thing with the Riddle character right now, as we talked last week, he's kind of like this guy who got, someone broke up with him, and he's just begging to come back to him, like doesn't want to give up on the relationship.
Yeah, don't leave me. Don't do this stuff.
Yeah, please, Randy, can we be friends?
We had something great here.
Sad in his puppy dog face. It's just like, it's just like, you should have seen this coming. I mean, it's like
of all people.
I mean, do you not watch your own program? I mean, Randy Orton has been in this company, almost 20 years or something like that at this point. At what point did you expect Randy Orton not to turn? And even after the end of the show, if he doesn't expect him to turn on him after they win the tag team titles, which is going to happen, I mean, come on, man. Anyway,
gotta hold out. Gotta hold out hope. All right,
you gotta hope that Randy will change his ways after all these years.
Holding out hope right now. Okay, I need you to turn that frown upside down.
Oh, believe me, I'm enjoying it just because it's like, what the hell is this? But anyway, so yeah, he said the people have been asking him all week why he gave Riddle the RKO. He explained that he did not need friends and would have beaten AJ Styles without anyone's help last week. He reminded us that he's a 14-time champion and claimed he did that all by himself. He didn't owe anyone an explanation. Orton said he was the apex predator and Raw was still his territory. He's talking all mean now. He proved it to AJ Styles, and he will prove it to Omos tonight. He called Omos a force of nature, who was also a jackass. The crowd chanted RKO and or RK Bro. It's still hard to tell what they're chanting for this point. Randy Orton was about to say he would hit Omos with an RK Bro. That's when Riddle's music hit. They did time that very well when he said RK Bro. His music played. And that's what brought out Riddle. Riddle also, he entered the ring, I should say. He knew that Orton gave him an RKO, and he knew why he did it. He was just teaching him how to hit a proper one. How dense can you be?
I mean, man, it fits.
I mean, I get it. He's dense, but you're also a stupid babyface right now. You're a talented wrestler. I love Riddle's wrestling.
Listen,
he's delusional is what he is.
You're not seeing it here, okay? He's in it for the long haul, buddy. Okay, he will turn Orton to his side. Got to give him time.
Okay, he's going to make him love him eventually. He will see.
Why don't you love me?
He will see that we were right together all along. If he only could just see that.
Supposed to be together.
I mean, just. But yeah, so where were we here? Riddle thought that they should give the team another chance. He said that Orton needed him in his corner to beat Omos, or Riddle also asked him to bring back RK Bro. That's when AJ Styles and Omos interrupted. Styles did not care why Orton gave Riddle an RKO, but would be happy to see it again. I'm with AJ Styles right now. Hit him with it, Randy.
Here.
Drop him.
No balls. You won't.
No, of course, yeah. I mean, Styles said that Orton only beat him because of Riddle, but nothing would save him tonight against Omos. Styles was sick of hearing "bro," which led to a "bro" chant by the crowd. Clearly,
obviously,
these people in the crowd. First of all, I'm not going to get mad at fans, but why are you paying your money for this?
He set himself up for that. Okay.
Oh,
you can't say that.
Well. Of course. I mean, that's probably what the intent was to get the chant.
He did that to him. Okay.
Well, he did that on purpose to get the chant. But I know he's a heel. But yeah, he did it to himself for sure. He challenged Riddle to a match so he could break his jaw, and so he would break it so he could sew his mouth shut so he wouldn't say bro anymore. Again, I'm with AJ Styles. I like his line of thinking right now. Riddle accepted the match for later on tonight. Riddle assumed that Orton would be in his corner and invited Styles to face a thrashing courtesy of RK Bro. So again, like I said, they're setting up the tag title match for SummerSlam. So they take the two guys at each team. They're mixing and matching them all the way up to the pay-per-view. Formulaic. And usually it ends up being 50-50 booking and things like that. So no one in either team really gets over, looks strong. So both teams just kind of are there. And not only that, if RK Bro wins the titles, who's going to challenge him?
Nobody.
They have nobody back there. So it's like, what are we doing? And not only that, Matt Riddle, if you're going to be building him like this, eventually the end game should be putting him in a world championship spot, correct? Yes. After the tag team and all this stuff. What's going to end up probably happening, it's going to end up being Orton versus Riddle down the line one day, clearly, because they're not going to be able to get along, because Orton's not going to be able to handle this for very long, hopefully, because this shtick isn't working for me. Now, I understand this is not good. It's probably telling for WWE storytelling, but this is probably one of the better storylines that they have on all three of their shows, which is, to me, it's like, we're going to get into the Miz and Morrison here in a little bit, which, oh my God. But, yeah, so I don't know. This isn't working for me. But again, maybe I'm just not the target audience for WWE. Clearly, it's geared more towards kids. But yeah, I don't know, the bro stuff, the marijuana humor, which I guess they did with RVD back in the day a little bit, but not. It didn't feel like it was to this extent. Was it this rough with RVD? Do you recall?
RVD did that shit to himself.
Well, that's true. But, yeah. I don't recall them referencing, marijuana stuff as much as they do with Riddle. Like, I'm high sitting on the ladder,
the thing was, RVD was more, I can't say subtle because that's the wrong word. Mm-hmm. His was more of a seamless transition when he cut promos and he, made weed references. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was like one of those, oh, I see what he did there type thing. But with Riddle, it's just like, boom. And then you're like, all right, let's calm down.
Yeah. I mean, he just says these off-the-wall things that literally, and I get he's supposed to be a goof. But
nobody talks like that.
No, it's about like the Nikki Ash promo that she cuts here a little bit, which is the same promo that she cuts week in, week out. There's literally no change in it. It's I'm optimistic. I can almost win, or I can almost be a superhero. I wear this suit because it gives me confidence. It's the same thing every week. She doesn't even change it up at this point. There's I don't know, but that's another story. They made the match official in record time because the graphic for Riddle and AJ Styles promoting the match popped up as soon as they were done talking. So I guess this thing, clearly wasn't scripted at all or nothing. After a break, we came back and we had AJ Styles versus Riddle, 10 minutes. So at least they gave this match time. And I will give this match credit. This match was very good for the most part, of course, until we get the finish, which is normal here. Riddle wanted a fist bump from Orton before the match, but Orton left him hanging and walked up the ramp and left. So, again, Randy Orton's just like, dude,
Like
just
fucking
I'm done. I'm just leave me alone.
Like, we'll do this, but we're
I
not
have to be in
friends.
this building because I'm contracted to WWE. I don't want to be in your corner, bro. So,
bro.
See what I did there? AJ Styles was in control until Riddle wiped him out with a dive, which led to a break. Riddle mounted a comeback following the break, hitting a bridging German suplex for 2 count. Styles followed up with a fireman's carry neckbreaker for 2. Riddle slipped out of a Styles clash attempt and kicked Styles' chest, but Styles countered a senton into a calf crusher until Riddle got a rope break. Riddle then hit an exploder suplex into the turnbuckles and went to the top, but became distracted by Omos. So here we go, distraction finish, who was just standing there. He didn't do anything. He just stood there, and Riddle's just like, what are you doing, bro? And then that's when he gets, hit from behind. Styles knocked him off the ropes and hit a Styles clash for the pinfall. And it was good until the finish. Again, both guys are very talented. You would expect a good match out of these two guys, and they did deliver that. But again, we've talked many times about if you don't deliver on the finish, which is all everybody seems to remember, it makes the match not as important to me. But for what it wasn't bad, the match itself. The build-up and stuff, and the promos, everything they're doing is just too cheesy for me. Now, I'm not saying everything has to be serious, though. Let's get that straight. There are ways of doing comedy in pro wrestling that actually is effective. The arcade bro stuff is just not it for me, personally. But if you enjoyed it, by all means, enjoy it. Sarah Schreiber interviewed Nikki Ash. This is the promo I talked about a second ago. She spoke about confidence. She was confident she could beat Rhea Ripley tonight and retain her title at SummerSlam. Hold on there, Nikki. Calm down. San Antonio Spurs player Keldon Johnson was shown at ringside. He had his gold medal from the Tokyo Olympics and received a nice ovation from the crowd. That was a cool moment. Nothing wrong with that. Good for him. A very sad Riddle walked through the back. Again, puppy dog face, literally dragging his scooter behind him, which I thought was kind of funny. He told
it's funny.
Well, I take pleasure in the misfortunes of others. What do you want me to say?
Yes, that you are some kind of Satanist.
That's terrible. But no, it's just because this thing, it's hard for me to get into. But he told Kevin Patrick that he didn't want to give up on RK Bro. But after all these weeks, after tonight, he literally said this, and I quote, "I'm just sad," and walked off.
Hey, man. If Shawn Michaels can lose his smile.
Good point. Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, I don't know. But that's, yeah. I'm literally, can you tell I'm struggling to find words to describe what I'm witnessing here on WWE programming? Speaking of which, Rhea Ripley defeated Raw Women's Champion Nikki Ash in a non-title match in 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Again, at least they gave her a little time. But 5 days before she's scheduled to defend her Women's Championship at SummerSlam, Nikki Ash is pinned clean as a sheet in the middle of the ring by one of her opponents at the pay-per-view. Now, Charlotte had beat her a few weeks back as well, so they're doing this thing again where they're pinning the champion, which is a problem, but it's one of those things, again, you've got a triple threat for the women's title, so you've got Charlotte versus Nikki, Rhea versus Nikki, Rhea versus Charlotte, which happens again later tonight, or in a tag team match. So, but again, so you beat the champion 5 days out. You shouldn't be beating the champions hardly at all, let alone 5 days before a title defense. Way to make her look weaker. And not only that, she's not won a single match outside of when she cashed in the Money in the Bank. And in the match she did beat Charlotte a few weeks ago, Charlotte took 95% of the offense in that match, and Nikki maybe got 4 moves in, including the finish where Charlotte basically knocked herself out. So you're not doing Nikki any favors. And you wonder why she's getting booed now. But that's the thing. After this, Charlotte mocked Nikki after the match, so I guess she was at ringside here. So Nikki attacked her. Charlotte tried to escape through the ring, but Ripley knocked Charlotte down. Ripley and Nikki both got their shots in on Charlotte before chucking her from the ring. So they just had a big match, and I guess they team up on Charlotte. So the enemy of my enemy is my friend, I suppose. But, I don't know. And, of course, we'll get more into this because apparently we got to get Nikki and Rhea in another match before this show even ends. So we'll get into that here in a second. Jinder Mahal psyched up Veer and Shaky in the back because they are in a handicap match against Drew McIntyre, which I believe we saw literally a couple weeks ago. So more rematches. There was a commercial break for NXT TakeOver. There was a hype video for Bobby Lashley. MVP told a stagehand to get them an unseasoned chicken breast and purified water. So I guess, Bobby's got to keep in shape. Patrick approached and asked MVP what they could expect from Lashley Goldberg face-to-face tonight. MVP said Goldberg disrespected them last time he was on Raw, and Lashley will repay Goldberg. Speaking of overused segments like the contract signing, it seems like a lot of face-to-faces now. It's kind of like the contract signing, but just to have them go face-to-face before the pay-per-view. We get that, it seems like, every pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's another weird one. Like, why do you... It seems like it'd be more mid-official if you have the initial face-to-face, and then they don't come face-to-face after that again until the actual match.
I mean, there's just something that seems to, especially in WWE, where it seems like the lost art of keeping two opponents apart and strong before they meet up in the main event or wherever it might be at the pay-per-view, and that's when you find out who's better. No, we have them going back and forth all the time, 50-50 booking, and all. It's just pull apart brawls, touching each other. It's just like, stop it. I know it sounded dirty, but you know what I'm saying. I had to cheer Brandon up. Brandon's clearly depressed, but I don't blame him. I mean, these shows are hard to watch for a wrestling fan. Yeah. I mean, keep them apart, please, and build them up, beating other opponents that can take losses, and that's perfectly fine. I don't get it.
That's what I always said. Like, I don't get why you can't just have your challengers go up against in parallel other wrestlers in this competition of who's better. Sure, you can have one come out to spectate the other because that's smart. Watch your opponent.
Yeah, but don't touch. Maybe jaw jack a little if you want.
Yeah,
but that's it. Walk away.
Leave.
Yeah, you don't have to
have them this pull apart brawl. I never understood that.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, and again, it's not so much you can't do it. It's just don't do it every segment. Every week. You can maybe do a pull apart brawl once in a blue moon or something. You just can't.
The day before, leading up to.
Yeah, the go home show at that. Yeah. It's like, all right, it's just overplayed at this point. And there's nothing wrong with building, a matchup without even having them in the same segment with each other. Just say, here's the match, here's the guy who's going to face the champion, and that's it. This guy is good because he just won a match, and the title is on the line because the champion's supposed to be good. If you book them properly, they will be. So we don't have to see them go face-to-face, but it's just the subtleties there that this company seems to be lacking. Charlotte explained to Sonya let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I totally skipped over the handicap match. Drew McIntyre defeated Veer and Shanky in 3 minutes. This is basically the bad guys were in control until McIntyre gave Shanky McIntyre gave Shanky a Michinoku driver and Veer and DDT. He knocked out Shanky with a Claymore kick for the win. The crowd was quiet for this until McIntyre hit his big moves at the end. So the crowd didn't care. So, hello. Of course, they try to make you feel like they care because WWE are still piping in crowd noise. They popped for Nikki Ash when she come out for the promo. Then they immediately started to boo, but then you immediately started hearing cheers again. I'm sorry, even the most crazy crowd doesn't just flip that fast. You know what I'm saying? It's the WWE are trying to make you believe that what they're doing is working, even when it's clearly not. But I guess that delusion can be an ugly thing. So after the match, McIntyre warned Mahal what was coming at SummerSlam. So I guess because McIntyre won this match, that means Veer and Shanky cannot be at ringside at SummerSlam, and McIntyre can bring his sword with him, though. It's kind of a weird step. Like, why would that matter? I mean, he's going to get Jinder Mahal one-on-one. You probably don't need the sword, but I guess it's because they've been telling this sword story. But anyway. Charlotte complained to Sonya Deville in the back and Adam Pearce as well about being attacked by Nikki and Rhea Ripley for no reason. No reason? I get it. She's the heel. She's going to act like she didn't do anything wrong. That's for sure. They said that she could wait to get her revenge at SummerSlam, or she could find a partner and have a tag team match against Rhea and Nikki tonight.
No.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Charlotte and Rhea, of course, versus Charlotte and a mystery opponent versus Rhea and Nikki later on. So she left. They aired the Elias video package again, where they basically showed him chucking his guitar into the fire, which is weird with Elias. Don't get me wrong, Elias needs a repackaging, but you just gave away his best part of his entire gimmick was the guitar. It was the wrestling and the other stuff that was like not really working for Elias. Not saying they should keep it because he needs a whole overhaul, but I don't know what they're doing. I got a feeling they probably don't even know what they're doing to Elias at this point, to be honest.
I was about to say, did you think they know what they're doing?
No, they're probably just like, all right, it's time for a change, but until we figure it out, let's keep showing you throw the guitar in. But yeah. Then, 2 words, Moist TV.
All right, I'm done with this one.
Hosted by John Morrison. So this is his segment, like Miz TV. Morrison has a new show. The ring is set up like Miz TV, but there are also pool toys in the ring, along with a bucket of dripsticks, which is, these pump handle squirt guns. This is what. Put it this way: if I were to ever show my friends or family that I like professional wrestling, I would not be showing them this show because it would be embarrassing as hell. Morrison introduced the Miz, who walked to the ring. Miz walks to the ring. Wasn't he supposed to have an ACL tear? Now it's almost like they're playing it off like it was nothing but a sell job because he got eaten by zombies. So I don't know if he was actually hurt or not. I don't know what the real report is here. If he was, clearly it was an ACL tear. He's not been out nearly as long for that. So for whatever reason, he's been cleared apparently. Morrison seemed annoyed that Miz was able to walk just fine though, because I guess he's been pushing him around in that wheelchair for weeks now. Morrison asked Miz what his favorite movie was. Again, why is this relevant? Miz said all of his Marine movies, because of course he did. But anyhow.
Because why wouldn't he?
Yeah. I mean, there was one good Marine movie, and that was John Cena's, and it was borderline.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Those WWE produced films.
Calling it a stretch, brother.
I mean, I enjoyed it, okay? It wasn't terrible.
You would.
I know. I kind of got some, weird taste in movies, or at least, if you've listened to me on the channel, sometimes I like movies that are not necessarily considered the greatest by a lot of folks. But anyhow, that's
not considered the brother.
Hey, sue me. I like the Star Wars prequels. Okay. Hey,
that's a whole new set of problems.
If I said sequels, it'd have been a bigger problem. But prequels are now actually kind of more loved by Star Wars fans. But hopefully, 20 years from now, the sequels will be the same way. Anyway, another story. Morrison then had another question for him. Were you pretending to be injured? Miz says he's never lied to Morrison and would never use him or fake an injury. Sure. Morrison wasn't buying that last point, though. Miz tried to reason with him until Damian Priest interrupted. Priest read some unnatural dialogue before saying he would beat Sheamus at SummerSlam. Sheamus, who wasn't even in this segment, which, to our point, though, a second ago, he doesn't have to be.
No.
But, so in a way, I guess I'm not going to complain about that.
He did come out.
I did kind of come out
problem.
Yeah.
But then address another first.
Yeah.
Hold on. Before I deal with you two fuckheads. Sheamus, I'm going to whip your ass. Yeah. All right, back to you, Chuckle Nuts. Now, in this instance, I will say this.
Okay, that broke me. Anyway, go on.
I will say, at least he has history with these two.
Yeah, so that's all they've done all year since Rumble.
Yeah, it's not like there's some random shit here.
It's not a good thing. But I hear you.
But at least he has a history with
Agreed.
These two.
Unfortunately, that is true. Move
and
on.
The whole ACL, whatever the situation may be, was on his watch as well. So, in one essence, like I said, I can understand why Priest would interject himself in this situation, even though he's dealing with, him and Sheamus right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He claimed that, Damian Priest claimed that Miz was using Morrison as his servant. Miz yelled at Damian Priest. Miz also slipped and referred to Saturday's show as WrestleMania instead of SummerSlam. So, oops! Big uh-oh. Miz said he's never been injured in his 16-year career, so he didn't know how to react to his first major injury. He knew some wrestlers competed hurt, including Morrison at WrestleMania, but didn't want to risk anything because he had to take care of his family. Miz admitted to being cleared a few weeks ago, and Morrison was surprised at this one. I guess Priest mocked Miz for running away last week. Morrison suggested they celebrate the debut of Moist TV by having a match between Miz and Priest, because we haven't seen that before.
Whenever you say that word,
Moist, I know a lot of people hate that word, and that's probably why.
It's not even that, because I say it just to say it, but when you say the words Moist TV,
I know
it legitimately fills me with this
rage. Yeah, like what, like. Vince McMahon hates his fans. Let's be honest here. Vince McMahon hates his fans. There's no way anybody in the back, and this has to clear through Vince McMahon. He probably thinks it's funny because it's his humor. That's why it got greenlit to go. But how? I mean, can you see my brain trying to process? How can you possibly think that this is entertaining? And not to mention, this ends here. Miz didn't like the idea of Miz versus Priest, so Priest pushed Miz into the kiddie pool that was full of water and rubber duckies. This is a pro wrestling show. I know they call it sports entertainment, but it's supposed to be, as long as you got a big ass squared circle with the ring in the middle of the whole thing, this is pro wrestling. Regardless if you want to call it that or not, that's what it is. And we've got kiddie pools with rubber duckies. Now, granted.
Hey, brother, hold on.
I know. To be fair, AEW did have a match where the loser had to fall into an orange juice pit. So, to be fair, I'm going to go there. But, yeah, okay.
But nothing.
But nothing. Good point. But, yeah, I mean, a mimosa to be exact. But, yeah, like that makes a difference.
That
but
don't make it no better.
I'm not saying it's any better. But, yeah. I guess the match was made official, though, so we have that up next.
It's fucking stupid. No matter what.
Pro wrestling is just something else.
Wrestling is, like I told you before, wrestling
it's in a rough place.
Will be this weird enigma.
Oh, yeah.
You either like it or you don't, okay? Because in saying that that's stupid, and you know what other company does? Well, like you just said, there's another company who had somebody fall in a fucking mimosa. There's also, you can't even say you can get away from it on the independents. We know that's lie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's even worse on the independents.
That legitimately suplex somebody or hip toss somebody with his penis.
Yeah, I mean, one guy who's the current world champion at this other big company had a match with a blow up doll. No, wait, that was Kota Ibushi.
Kota Ibushi.
He had a match with an 8-year-old girl. 7-year-old girl. So, but that he actually kind of made that work. But the girl was pretty talented for her age. But yeah, I mean,
it's still.
Yeah, still. I mean, and I'm coming off harsh here on WWE. I'm trying not to, but for whatever, I don't know. It's just you could do cheesy stuff, but it's like do it sparingly a little more. It's every segment.
The company who literally had the gobbledygooker.
Yeah, but that was one thing. Well, I think it was mostly one night. I think. I don't think he was on many segments. But even so, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you could do stuff like
there was a guy called the Repo Man.
I know, and that was a full blown gimmick, but yeah, no doubt. But I mean, it just seems like every segment on this show, like later we're going to get into the Lily stuff. We're going to get into R-Truth in a park doing flippy flips with Reginald. We're going to get.
Listen, I've already told you. I said my piece about R-Truth. Okay.
R-Truth's great. Nothing against R-Truth. We know this, but yeah,
R-Truth does not care.
I know, but
I'm not saying this in a bad way because that's not it. At this point in R-Truth's career, it's about having fun for him.
Agreed.
And that's all he does.
I hope you're having fun because some of the audience is not. But there are a lot of people who do enjoy it as much as I can't understand. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, again, I think I would enjoy it more if they just tried to get serious sometimes. And sometimes, even in their world title feuds, a lot of times they don't get serious a lot of times. That is where the most serious stuff does take place. But a lot of their other titles are just considered jokes. So it's hard for me to invest in some of this other craziness when you're doing it every segment. So I don't know. That's just me personally, but I get it. There are other people who do like it, so I'm trying to give it the benefit of the doubt. I really am. This is why we're going to combine the shows into one, so hopefully we can not focus on the negative so much. For sure, that's another reason. But anyway, Damian Priest defeated The Miz in 2.5 minutes. Another very, very short match. Sheamus was on commentary. He did come out for that. Miz tried to suck up to him, thinking that he might help, but he did not. Miz still took control briefly, but became distracted after Morrison wouldn't let him use the dripstick because I guess Morrison's a little bit jaded right now.
As he should be.
Well, yeah, I get it, but because of that, Priest came back and hit a bro kick for the win. Damian Priest used Sheamus' finishing maneuver to pin The Miz, so that didn't set well with Sheamus. He didn't appreciate that and said he would kick Priest's head off at SummerSlam, and that was that. So in the segment, nothing against. Yeah,
they didn't touch each other.
That's fine. They
had words. Yeah, and then he left.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. So yeah, probably one of the better booked feuds between these two. Of course, Sheamus is kind of doing this thing. He doesn't want to get involved with anybody. He's trying to stay away. Of course, a lot of that's because he hurt his nose and all that stuff. Morrison apparently they may be planting some seeds of an eventual breakup from Miz. I know our Wrestling Fun Facts and Trivia guru Mike has talked about he would love to see them use Morrison more, because he's obviously very talented. He was Impact World Champion at one point. He could definitely put a belt and carry a company on his shoulders. It's just that they've done nothing with him since they brought him back than to make him a joke with the Miz, and it's like another talent that you're not using well. And if you don't start to use some of these talents better, they're going to jump ship to AEW, but half of them already have. And I still think, personally, Charlotte's on her way out the door eventually, whenever her contract's up, because she was in Mexico with Andrade and Ric Flair at the AAA pay-per-view when she was scheduled to be at a WWE house show that they, advertised her for, and she wasn't there. And the crowd was chanting, "We want Charlotte," the entire show, and it's not a good look. So, and not only that, Charlotte in a lot of these feuds here with Rhea and all these other women, she just looks like she's going through the motions. I just get this feeling Charlotte's gone. So you got to start treating your talents better, otherwise they are going to eventually just leave you. Speaking of which we'll get into it when we get to NXT. Eva Marie, next up, told Doudrop that she blew it last week by losing to Alexa Bliss because the doll winked at her. Doudrop tried to blame it on Lily, though. Blame it on the doll. What did the doll ever do to you? It's literally an inanimate object.
It winked at me. What are you talking about? What did it do to you?
I mean, if it actually ever...
Listen, if a doll winked at me, I don't give a shit what I'm doing. I'm dropping it.
Good point. Yeah, like a bad habit. Set a gasoline to it and set it on fire. Do us all a favor, Doudrop.
Burning it down, dude.
Please. Eva Marie cut her off and says she didn't ask her to speak. Marie suggested that Doudrop go to the playground and take care of their little problem. Doudrop seemed confused, and Eva Marie told her to bring her Lily. So, talk about a death wish, I suppose, if you're going to go. I mean, it is a doll, and it's just a girl on a swing set.
I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about, lady. I'm not about to do none of that.
Yeah, do it yourself, broad. Anyway, Miz approached Morrison in the back. They spoke about how hurt they were until deciding to make up. So, I guess they're friends again. But yeah, this is going to continue. They're probably... What's that?
That's stupid. It's dumb.
Yeah, they got teased dissension all of a sudden. Hey, we're buddies again. What the best part of this was the New Day, who finally make their first appearance on this show since being destroyed by Bobby Lashley. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods were in the background during this little talk between Miz and Morrison, and they held up a sign that says, "Buy our shirt," in the background. So that great product placement by the New Day here. So MVPs of this show right there. The New Day are great, no doubt about it.
See, that's what I used to love about what they did with the Street Profits. I used to love the little segments they used to do where they plugged the WWE merch shop or plugged their own merch. I thought it was hilarious. And then at the end of it, they would sing that "We won't smoke." Yeah, we won't smoke. Like, I used to love that because naturally they're funny, just like Xavier and Kofi. I don't know why I blanked on
that notwithstanding, they are funny, but at the same time, again, it gets the New Day. I love. Don't be wrong; they're great wrestlers. They're very talented, but there are times they have them do stuff. The pancakes, in particular, it's like,
them pancakes was over.
I know, but
they got pancakes over. All right, you can get mad all you want.
Hey, I love pancakes too.
They got pancakes over. Not only did they get pancakes over, they got their own cereal over.
Yeah.
Bootios, brother.
I ain't gonna lie, when they burst out of that big cereal box at WrestleMania that winter, that was funny.
That's pretty dope.
With the big Cheerios or whatever they had. Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Don't ever.
Yeah, the Bootios. Yeah. Sorry, we can't say Cheerios. We don't own them here on the channel or in WWE, so they had to call them Bootios. But and actually, they made that cereal too, didn't we? We actually buy it, which is crazy.
They made Bootios.
So yeah, but again, I love New Day. It's just sometimes the comedy can be a little, and I get WWE back in their heyday in the '80s. They did this stuff. It's not new. Maybe I just didn't hate it because I was not young or I was not old, and maybe I'm a curmudgeon now. Maybe that's what it is. But as a child, I'm sure I got a kick out of it. If that's the case, they're doing what their target audience probably wants to see. I'm sure kids love it. Maybe it's just me being old and, out of touch. I don't know. We'll see. But anyhow, moving on, we had Alexa's Playground here. Alexa Bliss spoke to the doll and mocked Eva Marie. Doudrop showed up and grabbed the doll. Doudrop became frightened upon looking at it and quickly gave it back to Alexa Bliss. She left as Alexa laughed. So this was it was just there. Mansoor
happened.
Yeah, Mansoor then defeated Mace in under 2 minutes. Another very, very short match. 3-hour show, 2-minute matches. But again, this is another one of those situations where we had the tag team feud. So let's put Mustafa Ali versus T-Bar last week. Now we got Mansoor versus Mace, and we're doing that whole thing to build up to a tag match, which we've already seen. So I don't know why we got to see it again. Mace seemed to have won it all with the roll up, but Mustafa Ali kicked him in the face from outside the ring, which the referee did not see, and Mansoor rolled him up for the pinfall win. Another roll up win. See, that's their favorite finish, seems like. But yeah, I don't know what to say at this point about it. Omos then told Schreiber backstage that he would kill the legend of Randy Orton. Good luck with that. Styles said that Omos would be the new legend killer, while AJ Styles himself was the moron killer because he already beat Riddle. Again, I love AJ Styles. He's my spirit animal on this show. No doubt about that. So thank you, AJ, for giving me a little bit of enjoyment. There was a Goldberg video package. We'll get to that too. Randy Orton then defeated Raw Tag Team Champions Omos via a DQ. So Tag Team Champion lost, but I guess he didn't get pinned, so it's not as terrible. Omos did have his own entrance music here, so that's interesting. Orton immediately went for the RKO, but Omos blocked it. Eventually, Riddle came out. He helped Orton to his feet. Orton grabbed a mic. I'm sorry, this is after the match. Styles and Omos attacked Orton after the match. God, I totally just screwed that up. Take two. All right. Okay. Orton dodged the charge and went for an RKO, but Omos easily shoved him out of the ring. Styles kicked Orton, and the referee called for the bell. So I didn't mess up too much because there wasn't much to really write home about. Styles and Omos attacked Orton after the match. Omos drove him over the barricade before picking him up and placing him back in the ring for AJ Styles. Styles set up a phenomenal forearm, but Riddle ran out to his music and made the save. He dropped kick Omos off the apron before clotheslining Styles out of the ring. The crowd booed Omos because he wouldn't get in the ring to fight Riddle. Omos carried Styles away on his shoulder. Riddle helped Orton to his feet afterwards, and Orton grabbed a mic and, for whatever reason, said respect has to be earned. Orton said that Riddle had his back tonight, so kid, you earned my respect. Orton said RK Bro was back, and they shook hands and the crowd cheered. So he RKO'd him last week. I guess he earned his respect, but again, in my head, I'm going, it's Randy Orton. There's no way this is sticking. Now, again, they're winning the titles.
The person that it worked was Jesus, Edge. But that was because both of them couldn't be trusted.
Yeah. That's true. And they kind of who was going to cheat on each other first.
Yeah.
Kind of suspect. Again, used a relationship analogy. But I guess after this, Orton gave Riddle a hug.
Next time he goes to do it, he's going to RKO.
Riddle was ecstatic about this. He said, quote, "Randy, you make me so happy," and which produced a genuine laugh from the crowd. Riddle said RK Bro was challenging Styles and Omos for the tag titles at SummerSlam, and the crowd popped. So, yay! I mean, they're obviously winning the belts at SummerSlam. Otherwise, what's the point of even doing this? Unless you want to just continue it for another month.
No.
But please, just let them win the titles. And AJ and Omos, I don't know what's going to happen with them after this, but we'll see. Patrick said, or Kevin Patrick was backstage, asked Jeff Hardy why he asked for a rematch against Karrion Kross. Jeff Hardy said that he was angry. Kross was a dangerous man, but Hardy has lived off danger his entire career. Hardy suggested Kross check his hourglass because his 15 minutes were almost done. Kross suddenly attacked Hardy before heading to the ring, so he got a cheap shot in before the match here, which led to NXT champion Karrion Kross defeating Jeff Hardy in 50 seconds. Hardy was all over him for a moment, but Kross reversed a twist of fate into the cross jacket for the quick submission win. At least they're booking Karrion Kross strong finally. But you already screwed this up when you started this whole thing with Karrion Kross. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to have him just bury Jeff Hardy, not only that.
I said before, if you're going to teach him a lesson, talk to him. Don't kill his character, because then you do yourself no favors here. You didn't do him any favors when you did what you did the first fucking time.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to fix that, but it's already too late.
Yeah.
You've already.
Well,
the damage was already been done.
Everybody, all the WWE, fans and all this stuff were saying, oh, you got to let the story play out. They got the story plan with, bringing in Scarlett, and he's going to be a killer. That's apparently next, because where's Scarlett? She's not here, and he's killing him now. So the whole idea of him needing that killer instinct from Scarlett, that's gone. Granted, they probably saw that they screwed up, and they tried to make up for it quick with just having him kill Jeff now. But if you were going to have him do that, what was the point of beating him in the first place? You could have just had him kill him from week one. So again, can't get into this. At least they didn't have the NXT champion lose again, literally less than a week from his title defense against Samoa Joe. But so at least kudos to that. But again, you screwed this up from the get-go in my eyes.
Yep.
Eva Marie was pissed at Doudrop for failing to get the doll. Doudrop was still in stunned silence after the doll freaked her out. Eva Marie slapped her twice in the face, and that was it. But yeah, moving on. They aired footage from earlier today of Reginald taking a trip to the park because, he's got to walk around with his 24/7 title in public, mind you. He spoke to the camera about his childhood. R-Truth and Akira Tozawa were in disguises in the background trying to get closer to him. I believe one of them was wearing a garbage can. The other was wearing camouflage, I think. They tried attacking him, but he avoided both of them, flipped around some, using tree limbs and stuff like that, using the hills and everything, and then he leaped back in his car and drove away. So, again, when is Reginald actually going to wrestle? He's just a Cirque du Soleil flip artist, or whatever you want to call it. He's a flipper.
Acrobatist.
As I said last week. Yeah, acrobatist. Yeah, so.
That even sounded wrong when you said it.
The 24/7 title is still a joke, despite the fact they've tried to highlight it a little more lately by actually having 24/7 title matches. But even in those matches, Reginald isn't wrestling. He's just avoiding his opponent the whole time.
Hey, man, that's a new form of fucking self-defense.
I guess. Don't get me wrong, the dude can flip. But
if I don't get hit, you can't pin me.
I guess so. But, yeah, so I guess this feud must continue.
How's that meme go?
Yeah. Exactly.
I can't get pinned if you can't get a hold of me.
I guess so. The announcers ran down the SummerSlam card, which now includes Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie.
Wait, what?
Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie is set for SummerSlam.
Why?
Exactly. Listen to this. Keith Lee, Karrion Kross, Jeff Hardy, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, The New Day, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, Asuka, Toni Storm, Tegan Nox, and Shotzi Blackheart, all of which do not have SummerSlam matches, but Eva Marie does.
All those guys are about to get fired.
I hope so. They all deserve better places to go. Especially Asuka. Where is Asuka? I mean, Asuka has not been on here in
Asuka's about
months.
to get released.
Maybe. I mean, New Day I don't think is getting released. Shinsuke's the Intercontinental Champion, so that's not happening right now. Toni Storm was on one episode of SmackDown a couple weeks ago. We've not seen her since. Nox and Blackheart have been here hit and miss on SmackDown. Cesaro, you might as well let him go at this point. Keith Lee, you might as well let him go. Finn Balor, he wasn't on SmackDown this last week either. And they kind of buried him a little bit there. I mean, he did beat Corbin. But
if Finn leaves, he's not going to AEW. I think.
Well, probably not. He'd probably go back to New Japan or something for sure. I mean, and all these guys can't go to AEW, nor will they. But it's just like, what are we doing? I mean, you couldn't make some feuds with these top talents, and you're putting Eva Marie, who's done nothing but probably check her fingernails since she's gotten back. I mean, she's maybe thrown one punch, possibly. But anyway. I mean, hopefully this is at least leading to a spot where Doudrop turns on Eva Marie and says, "My name's Piper Niven." The crowd will pop for that. But hopefully that's where we're going here.
So she's going to get released next too. I'm telling you. Like, They've got nothing for Piper.
Yeah. I mean, she's a new face.
They kind of shit on her.
Yeah. She's a great wrestler. Yeah, but they don't like that, though. They don't like you being a good wrestler. They want, if you are, time to punish you. But yeah, anyhow. There was a new Elias video that came up next. He placed a tombstone reading Elias 2017 to 2021. So apparently he's only 4 years old. I get it. That's how long the gimmick has been running. But at the same time, it's like, wow, he's interesting. Next up, we had Charlotte Flair and apparently her mystery partner Nia Jax against the Raw Women's Champion Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley. Jax set up for a Vader bomb, but Charlotte tagged herself in. Charlotte knocked Nikki off the apron before giving Rhea a natural selection to pin Rhea Ripley 5 days away from the pay-per-view. So again, just trading wins between opponents here. Not only that, Nikki Ash was Rhea Ripley's partner, so Nikki Ash technically lost twice in one show as your Raw Women's Champion. Garbage. This is not good. I mean, and you wonder why no one is cheering for Nikki. You keep pinning her all the time.
They didn't really pin her.
Well, they didn't pin her this time, but she lost earlier in the night. They did pin her, and this one she lost 2 times in a row in the same evening. Not good. Not good at all. Jax was somewhat annoyed, so that was that. Shayna Baszler was shown watching the match in the back. She was playing with a deck of cards, so Shayna Baszler has got the right idea. You know, play some board games. Yeah, find something else to do. Clearly, she's the queen of spades, so she's playing with cards. Stereotype much. Next up, we had AJ.
Stereotype.
Well,
like too on the nose.
On the nose. That's what I meant. Yeah, my bad. AJ Styles told Kevin Patrick that he and Omos have beat everybody put in front of them. The Viking Raiders, the New Day, Elias and Jackson Riker, who weren't even a team anymore, he said. AJ Styles said, we were 5 days away from SummerSlam, and Orton will despise Riddle by the time they get there. He might be right about that, but they're still going to beat you for the titles, AJ, so get ready for that. Mm-hmm. And by that point, I'm going to feel like AJ Styles deserves better, which he always does. He should be in the main event picture all the time. I get they're trying to build up Omos.
Like, AJ's done it all. He's been all over the world.
Yeah, that's true. There's not much else he can really do in this company, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that means he's going to move on at some point, or he may just be happy where he's at. That's for sure. Main event segment for Raw. Bobby Lashley and Goldberg go face-to-face. Goldberg mentioned that he moved his family to Texas, and he was happy to introduce his son Gage, who was sitting at ringside with some friends. Goldberg said Gage was the reason he came out of retirement. He knew that his son could just go online and see who Goldberg was, but he wanted his son to see in person who Goldberg is, who his father is. Bobby Lashley and MVP interrupted. MVP said Goldberg was outmatched. Goldberg thought that he could come back and hit a spear and a jackhammer, but he saw Lashley and knew it was going to be different. He was facing a man more dangerous, more explosive, and more dominant. Lashley said he knew that Goldberg wanted a moment at SummerSlam, so he was going to give it to him. Finally, Goldberg's career would be ended by the Almighty. Goldberg was amused and said, Lashley, that's bullshit, because, Goldberg cusses a lot. Mm-hmm. Lashley was annoyed and tried.
Does.
Yeah, it seems like every time he's out there, he always drops a bomb. Lashley was annoyed and tried to attack him, but Goldberg gave him a spear. Gage hopped over the barricade so that he and Goldberg could pose on the stage as the show ended. Typical face-to-face segment. They go face-to-face. They get into it. Goldberg better be losing. But I'll tell you right now, if WWE puts the title on either Bill Goldberg or John Cena, we may not talk about him at all on this channel. We'll barely mention Raw and SmackDown at that point, because that is absurd, especially in Roman Reigns' case. The amount of time they put to build up Roman, making him this unbeatable monster, and he gets beat by the part-timer John Cena. That's going to be terrible. The guy who beats Roman Reigns should be your next superstar for years to come, much like the streak should have been, but you gave it to Brock Lesnar. At least when Brock won, he was dominant for many years after that.
Yeah, I'm about to say for a while.
But when he was there,
they got miles out of that, though.
They did, but
and then who you could have used as far as Roman. Roman made into his own lane, and he stuck to his own thing. Now he's carved his own path, and turns out he didn't need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, he's done a lot better.
If we would have got that from Roman, we wouldn't be on the road that we are now with him.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think this has made him a better star.
He's the best guy in the company.
I never said the guy couldn't wrestle. It was never that I didn't buy into his image either. It was just I didn't buy into the clean cutness of it, and neither did he.
Yeah,
and I think that's why he's so much more comfortable. Even when they let him be the badass, I was fully on board with that.
Yeah,
but now when you get to see him in this arrogant, pompous role, it's like, yeah, that fucking fits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, not only that, the talk is that he's not been scripted for a while now.
Yeah.
Hello? I mean,
so why would you never give him that opportunity?
Light bulb, WWE. You don't script certain guys, they actually turn it to gold. It's not rocket science, everybody. I mean, I get some people are not ready for that, but there's a lot of those guys on that roster who can cut a good promo. And Roman's been killing it with it. I mean, let these guys off the leash, and gals for that matter. But anyway, moving on.
I get it. Not everybody can.
I get it, but that's fine. Those people don't let them, but there are people who can let them go. It'll improve your show tenfold, in my opinion. NXT for, what is today? The 17th of August, 2021. That's the final build to TakeOver 36. The show is opening with a talkie segment. Is this Monday Night Raw or what? At least Malcolm.
So I'm going to let you know right now.
Okay.
I was a little late watching this show.
Okay.
And through the middle, I'm cooking dinner and everything else. So I saw, I don't know at what point in the Roderick Strong and Dragunov I came in, but I ended up leaving right after the Dexter Loomis match.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
Stop pinching my hand.
I'll walk you through it. It's no worries. So yeah, apparently Malcolm Bivens is doing the talking. He also kept his speech very short. Kushida is apparently not cleared to wrestle because we're supposed to get a cruiserweight title match between Kushida and Roderick Strong. So Bivens instead issues an open challenge for anyone to face Roderick Strong. Ilya Dragunov answered the challenge, and we have a match. So before we get into that, though, interesting, 2 weeks in a row, basically. I think it was 2 weeks in a row. Last week, Ember Moon wasn't cleared to wrestle. Now Kushida. I mean, I don't want to speculate, but obviously with the COVID stuff going around, maybe.
Yeah, that could be it.
But that's the most obvious answer, I would think. But again, we all before everybody speculated about what was going on with Keith Lee. Keith Lee finally came out and told everybody what was going on with him. He did have COVID, and it ended up causing him some heart issues that he could have died from. So everybody was speculating, it's his weight, Vince don't like him because he's fat, which still could be the case because where's Keith Lee been since he's been back? Unless he had a setback of some sort. He was on the show a couple weeks ago. They just stopped using him.
I imagine, honestly, after something like that, there probably is
being cautious.
Yeah, a sense of take it easy type deal.
Yeah, we'll put you out there, see how you do, maybe monitor you. That could be a thing. So that's possible. So, but yeah, interesting that 2 weeks in a row, somebody's not cleared to wrestle. So that's interesting. Ilya Dragunov then defeated Roderick Strong in what was actually a really great match. This was one of the better matches of the week when it comes to WWE programming, in my opinion. Dragunov, I've not seen a whole lot of him on NXT UK because we don't watch NXT UK, but I think you said that you read that they were actually having a great feud between him and Walter leading up to this. So, yeah, I would like to know more about that. Unfortunately, they didn't really tell a whole lot about other than what we saw last week, where Dragunov got beat leading into this match, which that sounds like main roster booking there, beating a guy. Now, granted, it was kind of a distraction, but Walter really didn't even do anything. He just stood on the outside of the ring. Dragunov distracted himself and got beat by...
but you understand the animosity that these two hold towards each other.
Well, that's fine.
So it's like your mere presence pisses me off. You know what I
understand, but also be smart enough not to let that bother you.
Yeah, it's a real hate. I watched the one where it's like every time Dragunov got up, Walter just fucking chopped him, and he's wanting light. You know what I'm saying?
Nothing Walter does is light.
Down.
Yeah.
And then he picks him up and just kept doing it.
Are you talking about Roderick or Walter?
Walter did this to Dragunov.
Last week, you mean? Yeah, okay.
That's just brutal.
But speaking of chops, though, Roderick Strong in this match, Dragunov too, but Roderick Strong started laying him in, and they started doing this chop off, or whatever you want to call it, where they were chopping each other. This thing was flat out brutal. I don't.
Did you see Dragunov's chest?
Yeah, it's awful. Lunch meat type deal. You know what I'm saying? But
that's uncomfortable, man.
I mean, these guys were definitely laid it in strong here.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Dragunov signals for his torpedo Moscow? I think that's how you say that.
Moscow or
Moscow,
Tokyo.
yeah. Some of these, foreign move names are hard for me to pronounce sometimes. But Strong countered with a knee strike. Dragunov bounced back to deliver another one, and he covered Strong for a 3 count. Dragunov, after the match, called out Walter. He was screaming for Walter's name.
So he didn't call out Walter.
Yeah.
Fucking yelled it.
Multiple times. Like, Walter, get out. Those. I don't want to get too loud. I got neighbors. But he apparently...
All red.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just, top of his lungs.
I was like, bro, you about to die. You
sound like Vicky Guerrero screaming at Orange Cassidy's face the other day.
Yeah,
but he was apparently not there. Walter did not show up here. Dragunov challenges Walter for the NXT UK Championship at TakeOver. So at least they gave Dragunov a win. Like I told you before we started recording, though, I don't understand for the life of me why you would book Dragunov versus Roderick Strong. Because in my eyes, Dragunov is going for the title here against Walter, which he got the win. The right booking call, I think. The better guy won when it comes to the stories they're telling. But they just established at the beginning of the show that Roderick Strong is the number 1 contender for the Cruiserweight title. So you got 2 number 1 contenders going against each other, and you beat one of the guys. So should Dragunov be getting the shot at the Cruiserweight title, even though I think they said he was weighed more than the weight limit for the Cruiserweight title here in a little bit. So, I guess that's how they're justifying it. But to me, it's like, I don't know if I'd have booked this match per se, but they booked it, and that's how the route they chose to do. But to me, that felt a little main roster-ish, just booking matches because we can, not thinking about the ramifications. So, not good. We had a mini documentary called Prime Target next, chronicling the feud and history between Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. This Prime Target special feature tells the story leading up to Cole O'Reilly number 3 that takes place this weekend at TakeOver. This is a really good video package. NXT's got some of the best video packages of all the companies in the world at this point. Well, WWE in general have good video packages when they are allowed to tell them. But Adam Cole, you can tell in this promo, though, is definitely far better on the microphone than Kyle O'Reilly is at the current time. It may ever be, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, Adam Cole here. Speaking of Adam Cole, I wanted to mention this a while ago. Apparently news come out today. He wrote on Twitter that his Twitch stream that he does, he says is going nowhere. So, based on what we know about the WWE main roster, you're not allowed to use Twitch. Ask Zelina Vega, ask AJ Styles. Now, somehow Xavier Woods has his up, down, down channel and all that stuff, which Adam Cole is on often.
So is Cesaro.
But for whatever
Cesaro
reason...
has like several different segments that he plays, different games on there.
Yeah, and I think they were doing... or I saw a preview for one coming up, but anyhow. But to me, it was like, I heard that and I go, okay, that means one of two things. Either he stayed at NXT or he's gone. At the end of this, after this match, because obviously his contract is going to be up after this match with Kyle O'Reilly, and we'll see what he does. So, is he out the door or is he staying? Because if he's going to the main roster, they're going to put the kibosh on that, most likely, unless he negotiated.
Which I don't understand the reason behind it.
I don't understand why it matters, to be honest. I guess it's kind of, again, Vince's idea of you getting over on your own outside of what the company does with you. You are now his property on the main roster, is what it feels like. So maybe that's it. But again, maybe he negotiated his contract to go to the main roster and keep his Twitch, but he would be the only guy on the main roster who has been allowed to. So that's very telling, possibly. So we'll see what happens. But
and I think too, I think it's more or less one of these situations where your Twitch chat, shit can happen that you were not in control of. Things can be said, you can be implicated in things. So it's one of these situations of where it's not that I'm pissing on your fun here.
Right.
But this is an element that I can't control in the sense of...
Oh, you mean from Vince's perspective,
It's an outlier. Yeah, this is an outside force that I have no control over here, and anything can fucking happen. I mean, look, you want to be honest with you, if you look at anything or some of these lawsuits that come from Twitch with these streamers and shit happens, not their fault in a lot of senses. It's just people, you know.
Right.
And that's a situation you can't control. Same like with Aleister Black when he was talking about it when he did that Twitch thing where these people said that he was a part of some cult, and one of them was like stalking him or something like that, and they said they had all this evidence against him that he was sacrificing kids and basically a pedophile at that too. Jeez. Because of some symbolism on his arm, which then at that point Vince had to have their lawyers come in and just, handle the situation. But they all stem from a situation where it's an outside force that he couldn't control, that he was involved in. Not necessarily involved in the sense like he did anything wrong, but it's just someone took a bunch of shit and turned it into something.
I mean, I get all that from WWE's perspective at a legal standpoint. They don't want to get in any legal trouble. But two things here. One, you can clearly set up something in your contract that states, anything that happens outside of what happens in our company, like on Twitch, that's the responsibility of the person running the Twitch and not WWE themselves. Number one.
And I'm sure they've done that with Xavier.
Right, and I mean, obviously, people in NXT are allowed to keep it. So what's the difference between NXT and the main roster in that regard? I don't get that. That's not what's studying. But number two, they're all concerned about that with Twitch, but they have no problem whatsoever with Jimmy Uso getting DUIs all the time, and they're not doing anything to stave off that behavior. They gave him the tag team titles, is what they did.
Yeah.
The week after that happened, so they're clearly not too worried about legalities and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I mean, you might be right. Like I said, I was just trying to play devil's advocate.
I understand. Yeah, but you make a good point. But it's just kind of like, if that's the reason, it's like, come on. But who knows? Who knows what goes on in Vince McMahon's mind? At this point.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, Hit Row then come out next. To the ring for a promo. NXT North American Champion Isaiah Swerve Scott was flanked by B-Fab, Top Dollar, and Ashante the Adonis. They are quite angry with Santos Escobar and El Legado del Fantasma. They showed on the video. Escobar appeared on a video screen to interrupt the promo. He was in the parking lot and he teased giving back the grill he previously stole from Swerve Scott. Escobar said he did not trust Scott's crew and he dared Scott to come outside. Escobar lured Scott into the parking lot with the promise they could handle things man to man. This is where Swerve Scott went anyway. Now, I'm sure he didn't trust this, as his teammates were trying to warn him not to go out front to confront him because they knew it was a trap. I mean, everybody and their brother knew this was a trap. But he went out there anyway on his own. Scott stormed out of the building to meet him, and Legado del Fantasma surrounded Scott as predicted, and they jumped him. Escobar tried to steal another grill from Swerve Scott, but the rest of Hit Row ran outside to make the save. A brawl ensued between the factions. Top Dollar threw someone into a roll-up door, much like Kevin Nash flung Rey Mysterio into the side of the trailer in 1996.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah. I did see that segment, yes.
B-Fab came out swinging a bat, and she hit members of Legado del Fantasma with it. Hit Row cleaned house on the faction, and Scott took his grill back. So kudos to his gutsiness. He went out there, probably knew his crew would have his back. This wasn't bad. I thought it was okay, other than the fact that at first I was like, why are you going out there, Scott? You look like an idiot right now. But they came out on top, so it worked in their favor, and it didn't look too bad. So not too shabby. Next up, we had LA Knight earlier in the day paid Josh Briggs a bounty to take on Cameron Grimes tonight. Said he paid $5,000 before the match, $5,000 after the deal was done. So this was good here. NXT UK champion Walter and Imperium cut a promo ahead of Imperium's tag match later on tonight. Then we got Cameron Grimes versus Josh Briggs. Grimes pinned Griggs in a quick match. Ted DiBiase was at ringside doing guest commentary. The match was short, but it led to an angle afterwards. Grimes wrestled in his butler suit, of all things. Briggs was very aggressive, but Grimes countered him at every turn. Grimes delivered a cave-in, and he covered Briggs for the pinfall. Grimes was in the ring ripping off his butler suit when LA Knight floored Ted DiBiase with a punch at ringside, because we got to remember, during the commentary here during this match, Ted DiBiase was so confident that Grimes was going to win, he made a wager with LA Knight, double or nothing. He said something about, I think LA Knight said something about like he would put $10,000 on that he would win or something, and Ted DiBiase said, no, double or nothing, $20,000 for the winner. I'll take Grimes, you take Briggs. So they made a deal, and I guess that meant that LA Knight owed Ted DiBiase $20,000 here, but he got a punch instead of the money. So Grimes jumped out of the ring to make the save on Ted DiBiase, and LA Knight laid out Grimes with the stunner DDT on the outside, and Knight trash talked as the segment ended. This is, again, one of the better feuds they've got going in the company. Both guys are very talented. The fact that Ted DiBiase might have forgot some of his promo last week when he was trying to set up this match, notwithstanding, live television, Ted DiBiase ain't the promo he used to be. But all things considered, these two guys are very entertaining. I can't wait to see Cameron Grimes win this $1 million title. This is one of the main reasons I'm actually watching NXT TakeOver this weekend, because everything else is just kind of there at this point, unfortunately. Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae. First of all, congratulations to these two. Candice LeRae is pregnant with Johnny Gargano's child. They're first, I believe. So congrats to these two here. We won't be seeing Candice LeRae in the ring anytime soon, but she can still do this backstage stuff as well. They were backstage with Andy Hartwell, which is another thing I want to talk about here. Andy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis. 2 weeks ago, there was a match between Gargano and Dexter Lumis, the Love Her or Lose Her match, where the stipulation was if Gargano would, Andy Hartwell had to leave Dexter Lumis for good. Mm-hmm. That lasted all of 20 seconds after the match was over, and they've been together ever since, and they've not even mentioned this. They just moved on like it never happened.
Because it wasn't a real thing. No,
it's a stip, though. It's a stipulation.
The stipulation was bullshit from the jump. She was never going to not be with him. They've been.
It was her idea.
This whole thing. But yet she knew that they were going to work against her in this match. And that's exactly what they did.
Well, they did.
So for her to give them that middle finger of, I'm not going to do what you want. I'm going to do what I wanted to do this whole time. And she did.
But to me, it's like, why did you do the match at all?
Because it was supposed to be, you're supposed to see that point where she just says, to hell with everything else.
You could have done that without making a stip that you broke. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. And of course, there's a lot of people online saying that, oh, everybody's mad about this or any other stip WWE breaks, but they're perfectly okay with Fuego del Sol getting a contract.
Yeah,
but here, no.
Yeah.
Here's the difference, though. Here's the difference. I know you're looking at me like you're going to defend. No, but listen. They said that Fuego del Sol
heard it all.
would earn a contract if he won. They did not say he must win. So if he lost, doesn't mean he still can't get one. You can say that's playing semantics all you want, but that, again, it's different a little bit.
No,
but
it's not.
Sorry.
They got a job.
Yeah.
And she decided to go with somebody she actually liked. And you mean to tell me that's the same thing? Fuck out of here.
I'm not saying it's the same thing. I'm saying it's different. But anyway, they left that little bit of a wiggle room there where this did not really. But my opinion alone. You can disagree with me.
Yes, it is.
That's fine. Lance Storm agrees with me, by the way. So that's another thing.
Lance Storm is also a tight-ass cheapwad.
Wow. I don't know anything about that. But anyway.
You ever heard stories of him and Christian and Edge on the road together? How cheap he was? Is it a tightwad he was? Oh my God!
Well, when you're on the road, I don't know. No, I'm sure he wasn't getting paid what Edge and Christian were either. But who knows? But anyway, maybe back then he was, but I don't know. But anyhow, let's move on. Let's see here. They were still upset with Eddie Hartwell over her relationship with Dexter Lumis. So I guess at least they said that much. There were some comedy lines here, and then Dexter entered the stage left. Hartwell and Lumis held hands while wearing matching index T-shirts. That was kind of cute. Hartwell then paid a pun, Hartwell paid a pun about sex, and she left with Lumis. So yeah, there was that. NXT Tag Team Champion. Oh, what was it she said? It's driving me crazy. She said something about sex, but I can't remember exactly what it was she said. It was a good line, but anyway, I'm sorry. NXT. What's that?
It was a solid line.
Solid line, though. Yeah, solid line. NXT Tag Team Champions Io Shirai and Zoe Stark were being interviewed backstage. Stark still wants to be friends, but Shirai is having none of that. She just wants to defend the titles, and she walked away. That was that. Dexter Lumis and Eddie Hartwell then defeated Robert Stone and Jessica Kamea in a mixed tag team match. Hartwell choked out Kamea with the silence to win the match. These two were... Eddie Hartwell was also crawling on the ring like Lumis was and all this sort of crazy stuff. And I guess after the match, the big story here is, though, Hartwell went to talk to Beth Phoenix outside. Phoenix gave her something. Turns out it was an engagement ring. Hartwell got down on one knee, and she proposed to Lumis in the middle of the ring. He nodded his head yes. He didn't say anything. They kissed, and they are now engaged. So that was very fast. One date, and now they're engaged. I think Gargano and Candice LeRae's got legit concerns here because that is way too fast. Hey, I know you only live once. YOLO, baby.
Yeah, much love, man.
Yeah, but yeah. So there's that. I guess congrats are in order. Malcolm Bivens was mad that Mackenzie Mitchell tried to interview Roderick Strong. He told her to talk to him instead. So again, that was that. Next up, we had an exclusive interview with Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. Raquel and Dakota were in a similar segment to the old face-to-face segments on Superstars and Wrestling Challenge way back in the day, where they had kind of like a split screen and they were talking to each other. There was a split screen, and each answered questions while also cutting promos on each other. This builds to their match on Sunday. Again, great. They weren't touching. They talked about the match. They threatened each other. That was it. Good. Nothing wrong with it. Carmelo Hayes defeated Duke Hudson in an NXT Breakout Tournament semifinal match. Carmelo Hayes pinned Hudson to win the match. Hayes moves on to the tournament final where he faces Odyssey Jones, and he will abruptly be murdered by this mountain of a man called Odyssey Jones. So I know he said that he'd been beating guys throughout this tournament. They were bigger than him, but not this time, fam.
Hold 1 second. I don't mean to step off subject here, but I just watched my mountain of a child come out. Grab the pot off the stove, eat 2 big spoonfuls of mac and cheese.
Out of the
pot? Put it down. Yeah.
Oh, wow. He's a bachelor now.
And grab 2 bags of, chips, like the little fun-size chips that we bought.
Mm-hmm.
And then shimmy his way back into his bedroom.
Hey, he got what he wanted.
It's like the weirdest exchange.
He is a... growing teenage boy. Hey, that's what they do, man. Welcome to
He didn't
parenthood.
say a word. Didn't make eye contact. Well, he did make eye contact.
With the mac and cheese, he made eye contact.
He did. He made eye contact with me like he was affording dominance over the cheese, mac and cheese. Like
he picked up the pot and goes,
okay. Yeah. And then he just took the chips. And
he Ezekiel Elliott at that sucker. You know?
He did this weird strut through the kitchen and then just shimmied his way to his room.
Hey, I mean, mac and cheese makes a boy happy, you know? I
guess, man. It was a weird-ass exchange. I was just like...
Oh, my. After... I don't know how to move on from that. After this, I guess Odyssey Jones come out and confronted Carmelo Hayes, and they both found a win, yada, yada, yada. Vignette hyped up JC Jane. No idea who this lady is. They've been promoting her vignettes the last few weeks, though, I think. So we'll find out soon. It's interesting how NXT can constantly bring up, new women for their division, but WWE Raw and Smackdown have to use the same women over and over again. Even though they've got other women.
I'm about to say, you beat me to it, because I was about to say the same thing you're about to say right now.
They got other women, they just don't use them? Yeah. It's like, come on, man. So, yeah. Cameron Grimes was in the trainer's room when Ted DiBiase approached him to say he was sorry. Grimes delivered a pep talk. Grimes ripped off his butler shirt and yelled he was not a butler, he was a champion. Grimes flipped out and was cutting a hell of a promo and said, we're both going to go to the moon on Sunday. So, good to see Grimes. Seems like he's back to his old self, and he's going to get this win on Sunday. I have no doubt about it. So that'll be a fun match for sure. NXT champions, or tag team champions, MSK defeated Imperium to retain their titles here. This all came down to where Walter started to get involved a little bit. But that's when Dragunov ran out to ringside during the match, and Walter Dragunov brawled, which then caused a distraction, which led to... Actually, no, Walter laid out Dragunov to start this, which caused a distraction that MSK used to their advantage to defeat Imperium off the distraction. Then, of course, after the match, Walter Dragunov brawled. So, yeah. They attacked after the match. He was pummeling him when MSK tried to make a save for Dragunov. Walter laid them both out, but during the seconds, Dragunov was able to recover, which he fired up on Walter. With the help of Imperium, Walter chopped down Dragunov. Walter stood over him, and then Walter also choked him out just because he can. Ridge Holland alongside Pete Dunne kind of promo on Timothy Thatcher. So, yeah. Basically, Walter just laid out Dragunov here to set up their title match for sure, which they think at least Dragunov got a win earlier on in the match.
Listen to me. These two men are going to kill each other.
Yeah. No doubt about that.
I'm 100% sure of that. I've said that about Tommaso Ciampa and Thatcher when they fought. This is going to be worse.
Yeah. You think so?
Way worse.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was pretty bad. I know Walter's going to try to kill him. I'm sure Dragunov's going to do his best here. But to me...
Either not to die or kill... Like, they have one mission. The other must not make it. Like, that's it. I
mean, it's hard for me to see anybody beat Walter right now, but eventually he is going to lose that NXT UK title. Much like Roman is going to lose his belt at some point. I hope it ain't this weekend. But... We do have 3 champions on these brands that are pretty strong at this point. And even Karrion Kross has been booked strong on NXT, but that title's going to Samoa Joe. There's no doubt in my mind. Which brings us to our next segment. Well, after the Rich Holland kind of promo on Timothy Thatcher, Holland and Thatcher meet next week on NXT on Tuesday. Which also was interesting too. The Legado del Fantasma and Hit Row 6-man will not be on NXT Takeover. It'll be next week on NXT, so that will not be on the pay-per-view. So that's interesting to know. Samoa Joe and Carrie Cross go face-to-face. So just like on Raw, we got a face-to-face segment to go home on the main show here. What do you bet John Cena and Roman Reigns go face-to-face, even though we kind of already did that last week? So we'll see what happens.
Well, at least this is the first time you're getting a face-to-face with these two, in the sense of wrestlers.
Yeah, as Joe is a wrestler, sure. I mean, they kind of stared down not too long back, but they didn't go face-to-face like this. Joe was out first with the fire in his eyes. Joe grabbed the house microphone, and he addressed NXT champion Carrie Cross. Joe was looking forward to the face-to-face, but Joe didn't realize it was pointless. He's not wrong. Joe says he is simply a man who is here to hurt you. The live crowd in unison chanted, "Joe is gonna kill you." Joe says to tuck your clock in your back pocket before calling Cross out. Joe said to stroll your ass down here, young champion. So Cross entered. Champion. Yeah, young champion. Cross entered stage left, and he stood on at the top of the entrance ramp. Joe still does not get it, according to Cross. This is not about them. It's about the future of this brand. Interesting use of words there, considering that all the stuff we know about NXT changing moving forward. So we'll see what happens there. Cross was delivering his lines while the crowd chanted a question. Where is Scarlett? Good question. She's not even been on NXT lately. Don't know. Cross did not address it, though. Cross instead called a security team to the ring. Cross claimed it was not for protection from Joe. Rather, security was there to protect Joe from Cross. Classic heel line there. Carrie Cross told Joe he was going to drop Joe real fast at TakeOver. Joe snapped and he attacked Cross. Security tried to break it up, but they, of course, failed to do so because it's Samoa Joe. Joe then leapt through the ropes with a tope suicida that knocked out Cross and the entire security team like bowling pins. Samoa Joe beat up Cross around ringside, but security pulled Joe off. Cross then jumped a defenseless Joe, and Cross went to suplex Joe onto the announce desk. Joe countered Cross, and Joe was back to pummeling him around ringside as someone in the crowd shrieked in terror. It was a Gordon Soley type Pierre Sixer all around the CWC. I'm not sure exactly what that means. That's an old time.
I don't know whether,
but anyway, security again pulled Joe off of Cross, but Cross charged at Samoa Joe nonetheless. They crashed through the barricade, and they fell to the floor in a heap as the show faded to black. This was a great pull-apart brawl at the end, even though they really weren't pulling apart. They were just beating the hell out of each other to destroy the CWC arena here. So outside of the fact that I kind of wished, again, they wouldn't necessarily would have touched, but if they were going to touch, this was one of the better ways to do it. So not a bad ending to NXT. And, of course, the WWE Weekly show as a whole here. Like I said, moving forward, we're going to add all these shows probably to our AEW shows. It's not going to be nearly this long. We're going to probably not talk about each and every segment, just the highs and lows of every show for the most part, because the wrestling, there's just so much wrestling to cover right now. But all things considered, NXT wasn't too bad. Raw and SmackDown, on the other hand, not so good. Kind of par for the course. There's not a whole lot different there each and every week, which is another reason we're going to combine these shows. But I think it'll be a lot better this way, and a lot easier on us. And of course, if you want to know detailed breakdowns, there's lots of other channels out there to do that. We just feel like it's going to be best for us here on this channel to talk about what we like the best, what we didn't like, some stuff that we want to complain about or praise. We're going to do that too. So we're going to definitely, present both sides of this stuff as well. So we'll see that about all that moving forward. But got any other thoughts on this before we head out of here tonight?
I want it to be better.
Oh yeah, we all do, man.
As someone who grew up watching early WWF, and when they transitioned over to WWE, I'm not saying I want that back because there's a lot of shit that was wrong with that. I just want it to be better.
Yeah. Well,
I told you at work, when we talk about wrestling at work, I told you I detach myself from, I can't. Yeah. And it's real. I can't do it. And I told you earlier before we started taping that I've had so much more fun and enjoyment in watching AEW, and I've also call out the bullcrap.
Yeah, we both do. We try. You try more than I do probably, but yeah, because I love it.
I also call out the crap that I see in NXT, and I enjoy NXT for a myriad of different reasons, and I think it's more or less because what I loved about the earlier times in WWE/WWF is what I'm getting out of NXT and what I want SmackDown and Raw to be.
The problem with that, though, is NXT's changing. It's becoming Raw and SmackDown, and with all these changes supposedly that's supposed to happen after TakeOver this weekend, they're going back to tape shows, which USA is not happy about. They're going to be, no more midgets, as they call it, all big dudes that Vince wants for the main Raw. Hopefully that'll lead to more, guys being called up and actually being utilized. But
you're taking away aspects of wrestling that are there.
Yeah, that NXT is known for.
Not everybody's fucking 6 feet tall, 6'5", whatever you want to call it. These muscle-bound jack dudes.
Yeah.
That's not what wrestling is.
Yeah. I mean, there are guys who are smaller, like Adam Cole's or, your Malachi Blacks or whatever, who are better wrestlers than somebody like, say, a Braun Strowman. Just because he's big doesn't make him a good pro wrestler.
Case in point, AJ Styles.
Yeah, but look at him, even on the main roster. As great as AJ Styles is, he's stuck in a tag team division, who should be main eventing pay-per-view. I mean, he should be one of your top superstars on either brand. Guys like Cesaro, guys like Finn Balor. I mean, Keith Lee's a big guy, but he should be pushed. There's just so many guys that the main roster does not use. And if NXT is going to continue to bring up guys to the main roster, or the main roster is going to bring up NXT guys and they're not going to use them, there's really not a whole lot of point to continue watching NXT either. I mean, we'll continue to talk about it. We'll continue to cover it. We just may not follow it as intently as we did before, because there's no sense in it when all that's going to happen is, it's like, I'm looking at Karrion Kross. He's the dominant champion. Bring him up to Raw. He's beaten. Yeah, now they're trying to fix it, but they already screwed it up. So at some point, it just becomes a waste of time. If you're not going to give us a good product, us as fans should not have to spend time reviewing it as we do, because obviously this show is now it's crossed over the 1.5 hour mark. We don't feel like it's good use of our time to continue to cover all this if that's all they're going to do. But we will still talk about them here and there. We're going to talk about the major issues, the major feuds, all that stuff that's going on in WWE. So don't go anywhere. We're definitely going to be covering WWE as well as AEW. So we're going to be getting into all this, but we'll definitely be covering the pay-per-view still. But you'll still have at least one show a week here with wrestling content. So don't worry about that. We're still going to continue to do that. But with that being said, let's get out of here for this week, and we'll be back tomorrow for AEW and AEW Dynamite and Rampage from last Friday, their debut episode. We didn't get a chance to talk about yet, so we'll talk about that after Dynamite and review that show as well. Leading into the second Rampage show that's coming up this week that supposedly may have CM Punk coming. We may or may not know, but most people feel like it's going to happen. We'll have to wait and see. We'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, though. So if you like this video, please comment down below. Let us know what you guys think. Are you guys enjoying WWE? Because it is very hard for us. So sorry if we're not going to be able to give you what you want here on the channel, but we're going to try to do it a little bit differently moving forward. Just comment down below. Let us know. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And please hit that notification bell so you get all the notifications about when we put up new content right here on this channel. And until our next video, guys, take care.
Bye.
Yeah, ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right, I swear to God that I can jump and roll. Yeah, I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable.